founder and executive director of the Aziza Development Foundation.
Oh, okay, so what gave rise for you to come to Laniba today to organize this kind of program?
Okay, so a friend of ours and of Aziza Development Foundation connected us with a fantastic woman who was already working with small businesses in Laniba, especially the widows, to access grants for their business. And she thought that if we work with her, her name is Toya Deyemi, we'll be able to improve the work she was doing in her community, train the women, and drive access to finance as required for their business, just mostly in a sustainable manner.
Okay, so for Aziza Foundation doing this kind of projects, what prompted you in the first place to start doing this? Is this for your own personal gain, or what actually prompted you?
Okay, so Aziza Development Foundation is an offshoot of a business and financial literacy program I started in Radiant Futures. Now, Radiant Futures is an impact investment fund where we were mostly working with financial institutions to mobilize capital to low-income neighborhoods. And we started the financial literacy program in 2021 after a number of our women had suffered into investment scams. A lot of them had also lost their savings, which they had in informal institutions during COVID. Then we started going into the communities. 2023, we thought to scale this and bring more partners on board, especially individuals who were in local communities. We realized that we could set up a foundation that could become a platform for myself and other critical players who were interested in financial inclusion or women enablement projects to come together, and that was why we started the Aziza Development Foundation.
So over the years, what are the substantive things?
Okay, so for 2021 to 2023, we've served over 7 local government areas, mostly in southwest part of the country. We have worked and we have trained over 300 women. We have also facilitated capital in terms of microloans and even done a bit of grants for more than 40 women to start or to grow their businesses.
And what are the major challenges you've been having?
So some of the biggest challenges when we come into the community is changing the women's mindsets, trying to get them to think beyond political influence or political support from maybe their elected officers, to see how we as private individuals can also serve them, and mostly also to just win their hearts to say we're doing this to serve, we're not doing this to enrich ourselves, we are really doing this because we want to see a better country and we feel that we can make that happen. So the biggest part of my work and the team's work in local communities we've been to is helping the women see how this would work for them and how this can actually be sustained through the women's groups.
Okay, for Laniba community, so what was the reception like?
So I'll say reception land, but the turnout definitely was more than we expected. It's usual. You see a lot of women, they'll show up because they're very expectant. The second thing I'll say in terms of reception is they had a lot of questions, which makes sense. They want to understand what exactly will this intervention do for them. So for me, the fact that the women had a lot of questions, I see it as successful because the woman who's asking questions means she wants to benefit something. If she kept quiet and didn't say anything, then it meant that she wasn't seeing any hope. So the fact that they had a lot of questions to ask, I think that was very good. And that also shows that there's going to be some sort of traction in the community as we establish.
Okay, so for Aziza's Foundation in Laniba, what's next?
So good. Next thing for the Laniba community is the creation of women groups, women clusters. Today we had a lot of the influential community leaders who are women to talk to them. The ballet was also present, and so having done such with important stakeholders in the community, what we see next is the women groups should begin to meet at least in a matter of 1 month maximum, and after they establish their meetings and assistants, which will guide them through, share the record book templates with them and how they can access their loans. We'll be working with 1 or 2 of our partners to ensure they can get the necessary capital they need to grow and improve their businesses.
So in a succinct sentence, what will you say your support system is? Because it's not easy, and I'm aware of the fact that you can't do all this alone. So what's your support system like?
Okay, so fantastic support comes from a team of passionate, intelligent volunteers who decide that they're going to give the best of themselves also to serve the women, who have to cut every barrier, think beyond, okay, I'm sophisticated, and say, no, I'm going to communicate in simple, relatable manner. So having the program officer to drive this, having volunteers and even supporters from private sector also willing to say, okay, we're going to commit the funds to back you up, and then donors also even providing the necessary funding. We need this. I think that makes all of this possible as a non-profit trying to do good.
All right. A major partner for today's success was budget.
Yes.
So what do you have to say concerning budget, contribution?
Okay, so this was the first outing with budget, and the biggest part initially was I didn't really understand how we're going to bring budgets in, especially relating to getting women to be more actively involved in governance, and then holding political office holders accountable for their work. But just moving through the program, moving from pensions and then having budgets speak to that effect was really helpful. I think the location also helped because we used a community primary school or a community grammar school, to run the program, and seeing infrastructure and then asking critical questions around if we're trying to grow the women's business. Does the infrastructure exist? Does the power exist? Are the primary health services available to even support them? Are their children getting the quality, also sort of decent education? And seeing the interaction between us trying to grow their businesses, trying to improve the women, and then budgets trying to say, how can we hold governance more accountable to ensure that infrastructure exists to let those women's businesses thrive? I think for us was definitely a very good cohesion. It was a good partnership to come on the field together, and I loved it. I really did. I love that.
So what would be your call to the government, parents, and most especially women?
Okay, so first is the women. Maybe because they're the most important part of the puzzle to me. I believe solely that women will build not just themselves; they're going to be enabling their kids. A woman's ability to dream, a woman's ability to thrive, to push herself, to just push despite the economic hardship and the realities, and just maintaining the resilient mindset, I think is an essential skill set that our children will absorb from our mothers. So for the women, my encouragement is stay resilient. It's definitely tough, but there is hope. That's why we have also come, is because we believe there is hope and there's stuff we can do together. For government, we cannot successfully bring about intervention and empowerment if infrastructure and enabling business environment do not exist. So I'll speak specifically for Laniba community. We've gotten feedback around lack of power. We've also gotten feedback around health services not being sufficient. So if we can ensure that our mothers, our community has access to power, and then there is health, and of course the school premises we use is not doing very well. If we can improve the quality of the infrastructure in the school premises, I think that would also help. So that's my ask to governments. If you enable the environment, our women will thrive. And then generally, private individuals, you want to go outside your comfort zone sometimes. Some of us live in neighborhoods that are well taken care of. But the fact is, when we step out of our comfort zone and see where others exist, we realize that one, we are blessed. Two, we see that we can actually do a lot much more than we are doing. So just giving, thinking of how to support the Aziza Development Foundation and any other foundation that's really working around economic empowerment, or thinking about how can we drive education, how can we drive access to better health. I think these are ways that individuals can also help. And yeah, volunteering. Just if you can't give your money, give your time. It's another way to just serve the community.
Okay, and lastly, before I let you go, budget Aziza Foundation. What should we expect going forward?
So going forward, we have plans to visit some of the critical part of Oyo State. I'm excited as to how we're even already doing initial community engagement in such places. So as we wrap up a lot of the conversations, we'll be happy to see how we can equally join forces, ensure that our financial business, digital literacy content, also in a way opens the conversation to discuss how governance plays a critical role in improving the women's life. So working together.
Generally, what will be a parting shot?
Parting shot. This is good work for us. This is community service. This is us giving of ourselves. But our philosophy is simple. It's going to take a lot of us coming together. Either you're part of the foundation, you're looking at it from your private sector space and saying, how can we better enable the community? So my last shot is, Nigeria needs everyone. You're in Nigeria, you're outside Nigeria. You can play a critical role in building this nation. There is no savior coming from outside our communities. There is no savior coming from outside Nigeria or Africa. We are the ones that have to build it. So we'll do whatever it takes and we'll do all it takes. That's my last words.
Thank you so much. Once again, your name and designation.
So I am Funmi Okubanjo. I'm the founder and executive director of Aziza Development Foundation, which is an initiative I started from our work in Radiant Futures, which is an impact investments company. Thank you.
For that.